Fortnite just completely changed the FNCS format that is starting in less than 10 days. We also had our first ever squad victory cup that a lot of people are really unhappy with. We got our first showing of the EU pros and how they're going to do on NA, including Mr. Savage almost winning his first tournament on NA. I also want to talk about what happened with DreamHack. We had an insane tournament, but we had a whole bunch of drama involving some of the orgs. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. In case you guys couldn't tell, I'm in another new setup again. I'm at the Dig House filming this video before I fly home to Australia. But I want to talk about the FNCS format. It has completely changed. They have now made it so it's different on every single region by an entire round. So OCE, Asia, Middle East, and Brazil only have 3 rounds for FNCS, whereas NA and EU now have 4 rounds, but they have a different format. We are now ending in set lobbies each week of qualifiers for every region. So NA and EU is going to be anyone in Platinum Division can play. From that, it'll go down to the top 2,000, then down to the top 1,000, down to 50. So we are getting set lobbies in the qualifiers again. Now, for the other smaller regions, it's anyone in Platinum Division down to top 1,000 and then down to 50. So again, only 3 rounds, not 4, which we have never seen before. Usually the smaller regions have the same amount of rounds. It's just less people qualify because there's less players. Now, the semi-finals and grand finals format has not changed at all. So most of the series points to get into semi-finals is going to go from that top 50 finals each week. But apparently, if you do the math, as long as you make round 3 in both of the weeks, you should still be able to make it through to the semi-finals. I, for one, am very happy to see us getting set lobbies back in the qualifiers. It was one of my main complaints about last season. If you guys watched my videos, you heard me talk about it. We went into the semi-finals and grand finals never having seen set lobbies, and we didn't really know who was looking that good. And then based on the placements in grand finals compared to the placements in the weekly qualifiers, it did show that it wasn't a very good indicator or qualifying format. Now, I do still think this format could be a little bit better from Epic. Again, I don't think I'll ever be 100% happy with the FNCS format. I'd love to see it something like Platinum Division to top 5,000, then 1,000, then 50, or maybe even like 5,000 to 500. I just think that 2,000 to 1,000 jump on the 2 major regions is just, again, not big enough. And then 1,000 down to 50 is pretty brutal. I feel like that could be spaced out a lot better and give more people a chance to qualify for the second round of FNCS. As for the smaller regions, only having 3 rounds to go from 1,000 to 50 is going to be pretty crazy. And I don't get why we have less FNCS. I'm sure most pro players and people in the community would enjoy playing and watching more FNCS. We now only have 2 qualifying weeks and the small regions only have 3 rounds. That's 6 rounds to make it an FNCS semi-finals. I just feel like, I don't know why we're making FNCS shorter when I feel like most people want more FNCS. I want an entire 3rd week of qualifiers. I want semi-finals to last longer. I want heats. I want I don't know why we're making it shorter. Next up, I want to talk about the solo and squad victory cups. Our first time to ever see the squad victory cup, and for the most part it was received pretty well. I feel like a lot of people enjoyed playing it. This meta is obviously extremely chaotic. There are still some major problems that a lot of people are pointing out on social media, between people having nitro and quadruple bull rushing into your box, getting 4 people punching down your walls. It can be a bit frustrating, but honestly it looks pretty fun. One of the main concerns a lot of pros are having is the fact that currently on at least EU and NA, pretty much no notable pros made any money. And I know some of you might not think that's a problem, and that's up to you, but a lot of people are arguing that with this meta combined with squads, it is just complete free-for-all and anyone can make money. And I kind of feel like Epic's going to be happy about that. I think that's what they want, the idea that anyone can make money. It isn't just always going to the top pros. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be frustrated by that. Again, it is competitive. The best player should win. But I think the policy of these victory cups from the very start has been that idea that it makes anyone think they can win, which has been really good for the competitive player base. I think the competitive player base and viewership and its success has a lot to do with these victory cups. When they went from regular solo cash cups to the victory cups, pros started making a lot less money, but the average player or average competitive player started making a lot more, or at least they thought they could make more, and that has led to a lot of positivity. So the squad victory cup may be going a little bit too far with that. I think not seeing a single pro squad win a game is a little bit crazy. We had pros running around with like 10 plus FNCS titles in their squads who couldn't get a single win, but I think a lot of that is also just due to the meta right now. And again, there are some major issues. There's a lot of things I would love to fix. A lot of you guys keep asking my opinion. I obviously want to see the gloves punch damage nerfed even more than it currently is. I think the gloves should have less uses than they already do right now. I think there should be a cooldown between using the gloves for mobility. I also do think that if you use the punching ability, that should also take one of the charges. I think as far as the Nitro goes, it needs to do less structure damage. The fact that pros are just running through walls anything less than full built metal and one pumping people is a little bit crazy. I think the Nitro needs to do way less structure damage, but overall, with those changes, we could have an extremely good meta on our hands. I know I listed a bunch of changes, but outside of that, it is looking really fun. The infinite boom bow, obviously a bit of an issue, and the new mythic assault rifle is an absolute laser, but we are pretty close to what I think could be a really good meta. It's not going to be a super bland meta like we had last season. You're going to have to enjoy a bit of chaos. For me, I think we could have a hammer meta on our hands where it was really exciting and crazy and fun, but it wasn't so crazy like it is right now that it felt uncompetitive. That's just my take, but I do think we're close to a good meta, and we will see a lot more consistent pros earning in the squad victory cups if we get some of those changes. As for the solo victory cup finals, we actually had a lot of big pros miss out on even making the finals. Most notably for me was Swizzy, our FNCS champion, dropped a 36 kill win in the first game of opens and then went on to not qualify. And that might sound insane to you because a 36 kill win usually would qualify you by itself even if you stopped playing. The Solo Victory Cup Finals now has less people qualifying. It's only 7,000 on EU and 5,000 on NA, which is obviously going to make it harder to qualify, but the main reason for this is the new point format. It's 65 points for a win and each elim is 1. So you have to get 65 elims to equal 1 win worth of points. But the majority of those points are also in the top 5, especially the top 3. I did the math, and unless my math is wrong, a 20 kill 6th is worth less than a 0 kill 2nd. Let that sink in. That is pretty insane. So a lot of pros who are trying to W key and play super aggressive because it's more fun, that's what they're used to, are gonna get punished in this new format. It is much, much harder to qualify unless you're playing very placement heavy. And that's why we saw a lot of other pros miss out on making finals as well. Peterbot missed out on making finals. We had Tayson missing out on his first finals on NA. There was a lot of high profile pros. It wasn't just a few of them. That means we had 2 of our FNCS champions, 1 on EU and 1 on NA, not even making the Solo Cash Cup finals. So it was a bit chaotic. You have to really play a lot safer in a meta where, again, anyone can jump in and kill you at any time. So it did make it quite hard, but we did have some very notable earners in the finals. I want to shout out the fact that we had Volko winning 2 games in the finals as well and still playing decent elims. 10 elims and 13 elim wins is pretty good. On the other side of things though, over on NA, we had a pro player who is 100% adapted to the meta. We have the complete idea of what Twitter and TikTok want you to play like with Vibin Jivin. My man got 2 1 elim wins, a 100% win rate in the new meta, only getting 1 kill each game. Now, I'm not making fun of Jivin here. I love the fact that Jivin has adapted to the meta. He's playing to its strength and he's playing the placement. It is really hard to drop high kill games and survive right now consistently, so Jivin's just playing the placement. He's rotating with the gloves and he's not taking fights he can't win. It's really, really good to see, but again, a lot of people are gonna be upset by that. We did have the 30 and 40 bomb elim races last season. I loved watching them, but it's going to be very hard to see that this season unless we see some major balance changes. When every player can just infinitely run from you with the gloves, or they can turn around and punch you down in 2 seconds, it's going to be hard for pros to drop those big wins. But like I said with the Squad Victory Cup, I think Fortnite's okay with that. I think they like the fact that a lot of people are going to see their first earnings. Now, I did just talk about some of the EU pros struggling on NA. We had Mr. Savage almost winning the Opens, absolutely dominating his first tournament on NA. He then struggled to get the win in the finals, but he did extremely well. Mongrel, on the other hand, got 2 top 7 finishes in the finals, almost got the wins, and then we had none other than Pink getting a win with 18 kills in the finals on NA. So a lot of our EU pros doing very, very well in their first tournaments after DreamHack. It was just squads that was a little bit funny. Now, speaking of DreamHack, it was a crazy weekend. Again, I traveled all the way to Dallas for it. If you guys missed any of my streams, it was super fun. You probably saw some of the content on social media. I was trying to do some IRL streams, all the reactions of Peterbot and Kanata going crazy, all the trash talk. I was front row for that, filming a lot of it. I also got a chance to cast a bunch of the finals, and I must say, I was a little bit skeptical of this game mode. When I heard that ESL and DreamHack and Gamers8 and the Esports World Cup was going to be focused around 4v4 creative game modes, not Battle Royale, not even no builds, I was skeptical, but I actually had such a fun weekend casting the finals. If you missed watching it, go to my Twitch VODs. It was an extremely fun time. We had Falcons absolutely dominating. Coming into this tournament, there was a lot of hype around Xset, a little hype around Heroic. There were some big teams, but Tayson's team absolutely dominated. Tayson, Teeny, Chicho, and Yapko managed to win the finals $100,000 by not losing a single series. They played 28 maps in this tournament across the weekend, and they only lost 3 of them. So they managed to win 25 of 28 of the maps. They are by far the best team right now in the ESL game modes. In case you guys missed it, they're currently a capture the flag and hardpoint map, but it was really cool to see Fortnite be more of a traditional esports with big orgs, the same teams, good brackets. It was extremely fun to watch. Obviously, it did create some drama as well, in case you guys missed a lot of it breaking down. A lot of people upset with how it played out, with the fact the seeding got moved around because Xset was involved in some dramas with Agent. A lot of stuff went crazy, but I'm very excited to see how this game mode goes going forward, and we now have our 6 teams that are qualified for the $1 million finals in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We of course have Falcons qualified, who won the whole tournament and the $100,000. We had Agent, who came in second, Fnatic, Carmine Corp, Heroic, and Big as the 6 orgs that will be represented at Saudi Arabia. There's 10 more spots up for grabs. They're going to go out through the online qualifiers over the next couple months. I will point out that 4 of those 6 orgs that qualified are actually EU based. Now, Fnatic's a little bit harder. They are currently an EU based org, but they do have 4 NA players, so I'm going to call them NA here. And then we have Agent. The other 4 orgs are EU based and full of EU players. So the online quals are going to be very, very interesting to see how many of the NA teams can grab the remaining spots. Clix's most recently signed team, Xset, the most hyped up team coming into it, just fell short losing their last game against Heroic, where if they won it, they would have qualified again. This team saying that due to the seeding issues and the changing of the format really messed them up. I am confident they will make it through the online qualifiers. My team, Dignitas, again, just falling short. Hopefully one of the 2 teams to make it through in the online quals, but there's not that many spots up for grabs with some really, really big teams remaining. So I'm excited to see how the online calls go and who we have going for the $1 million in Riyadh, because I will definitely be following it.